up, friends, and welcome to another episode of From the Mind of Dick. I hope everyone's doing well out there wherever you may be. So on this episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about how basically the whole world is rigged. It's my opinion on things. I think that everything from sports to music to like anything really, like the government, all the stuff that you're seeing around you, which you look at on social media when you're scrolling, that's all rigged. Everything's just set up by design. I'll talk a little bit about that. There's a few things I want to get into on that subject. First off, I have a couple things to talk about. The first one is I'm really always trying to improve this podcast and trying to do things a little better. I was trying to, do different things. I have ADHD, so I always try to look into things like, oh, how can I do this? How can I do that? Anyway, and then me and my good friend at the Conference Call podcast, we kind of have a little friendly competition and we're making each other better, right? So my buddy Danny B, he's going to start doing video. So I highly recommend go check his podcast out because he's going to start doing video. He really didn't want to put his face out there, but I encouraged him. I was like, dude, you're way more handsome than me. So you got that awesome beard, which I can't grow. Come on, man, put that face out there and make it a little more interesting. Let's see that face. And because my listeners and my viewers are looking at my ugly ass mug all the time. I know what I look like, and I still put my face out there, right? So I think it's better. So he's doing that, but then I decided that I wanted to do something else, try to make it better. Because like I said, it's a friendly competition. He's doing things too. He's got big moves coming. I can't wait to see it. But here's what I'm doing. Watch this. Bing. So if you're watching, you see something has popped up right there. That's the new thing I want to try. I want to try to have little pop-up windows come up or whatever you call it, but things that pop up when I talk about certain things so you can have a visual, right? So those of you that want to watch on YouTube, which I'm going to put these videos on YouTube, I noticed that a lot of them, I just noticed this really because I wasn't checking, that it's just showing the thumbnail picture, whatever, the one I make to promote it. And then the cover photo or whatever you want to call it, that's all that shows up on YouTube with the audio. And the actual video that I make doesn't show up. So I'm going to start putting that over there. It kind of screws with the analytics a little bit because I don't know what numbers, because the numbers on YouTube, the views and stuff on YouTube come over to where I actually distribute everything, and I see all the numbers so I can see who's watching and all that stuff and who's listening. And if I have to post these videos, I'm not going to get those analytics from YouTube, but I can get the YouTube analytics, all that. But that's not important. I don't really care about any of that. So I'm going to do that so you can watch the video on YouTube so you can see things pop up, like I said, and then on Spotify. Because I only go 3 places right now. So we'll see later if I'm going to do more, but I think that's good for right now. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, where you can watch and listen, and then YouTube where you can watch. So I'm going to have things pop up now. So where you at, Danny B? I want to see what else you got coming. Like I said, friendly competition. That's my boy. Like I said, if you haven't checked out the Conference Call podcast, please go do that. Anyway, that's the first thing. So I'm excited about that. The other one, I have a little announcement. And if you follow me on the socials, Instagram and Fartbook, if you follow me there, you've already seen it. You already know. So most people that watch this and listen to this podcast, most of you actually know what announcement I'm gonna make. I recently asked my beautiful girl, Alicia, to marry me, and we are now engaged. So I'm super excited about that. It's something that I should have done a long time ago. And yes, I admit it. It was my fault. I should have done it a long time ago. I wanted to make everything too perfect. And I think I just was overthinking it. And it just took me a lot to get out of my head. And I finally just said, okay, this is what I'm doing it. I got a ring, I got everything, and everything took place on December 26th. I asked her to marry me. So we are now engaged. I don't want to talk too much about that because another announcement, next week, we are going to do an episode together for Valentine's Day. We're going to do a Valentine's Day episode, so we'll talk more about our engagement and all that stuff and how it went down. But those of you who follow me on social media saw the pictures and stuff like that. Those pictures were taken after because we wanted to do some really cool announcement pictures. And I did get on my knee and that's not where I actually did it, but sorry to take that illusion away. But I actually just did it in my apartment with my daughters here because that's kind of how we wanted to do it. And it was beautiful. It was awesome. So like I said, I don't want to talk too much about it because we're going to talk about it more next week together. But we are engaged now and we are both super happy about it. We're going to be planning a wedding probably for next year. And there's reasons for that, but I won't get into that. We'll talk about it more next week. So stay tuned for that one. Probably like next Friday, I'll have that out. I think we're going to do it on Thursday. So anyway, now let's get into like the meat of what this episode is about. And this is just something that I've been thinking about because there's a lot of different things going on that that obviously, they're rigged situations. There's a bunch of different situations within like sports, politics, music. So I'll start with the Grammys, right? The Grammys just happened, and I never watch the Grammys. I think it's all a bunch of bullshit. It's all stupid. I never watch. I do look who won, right? And it always pisses me off. When I see like these certain people win, when like these people should be the ones that win, right? And it happens every year. Eminem had something where he was like, "Fuck that shit." It's like, oh, it's all fake, right? I don't want to play the clip of Eminem, but he basically like, "Don't fucking call me back again," because I'm sick of like watching these people get snubbed over like people that actually put out the best music, that the ones that should actually win, because it's all voted on by certain people that basically, I don't know how it all works, but like it's obviously rigged and they get paid to do this. Like, hey, I'm going to promote this person if you promote this person for me, and then I'm going to do this and I'm going to vote this way. And it's all like, it's not like the best music. It's not the deserving music. It's just who has the people voting for the best thing. It's all stupid. It doesn't matter. None of it matters, right? So I want to talk about Beyonce, right? And I'll talk about first the album of the year thing, and then I'll get into the country thing, okay? So the album of the year. Now, I went and listened to this album. It was terrible. I went into it, knowing that I hated it before even only hearing one song, and I knew I hated it. Okay. So when you go on Apple Music, it has little stars by the songs that it means like these are the top songs. And so, I'd already heard Texas Hold'em a million times. So I didn't want to hear that one again. And what I believe about that one is the reason I heard it a million times on social media is because they pay people to use that as their sound. And then other people who they don't pay will use it because this person uses it. It becomes trending and then everybody uses it, right? It's just it's how it works. There's some that organically happen. Like my boys, the Dirty Heads, had Vacation go viral because people thought it was about going on vacation when it was actually about something completely different, but it was catchy for a vacation video. So I love how that, like anytime I talk about Dirty Heads, like, oh, the vacation song. Yeah, that's the song. And that's like their worst song, but it went viral because people thought it was about vacations, and it's actually about loving your job so much it feels like you're on vacation, which I know nothing about. So anyway, back to Beyonce. I feel like that song went viral because it got paid to go viral, right? People got paid to use it. So that's the only song that I knew. So I went in from top to bottom and just listened to, the first, maybe, I didn't listen to the whole songs because honestly, every song I listened to, I was like, this is trash. This is trash. And this is trash. Right. And every song was like, there's so much weird stuff going on in the songs, and they didn't sound country. It's supposed to be a country album. And besides being a country album, it should be a good album. And none of the songs are good. Legit, not one song on there is a good song. And based on like streaming, on how many people stream compared to, let's talk about Billie Eilish, because Billie Eilish has, I think it's millions. I didn't look at the actual numbers, but it's millions more streams than Beyonce's Cowboy Coochie, whatever it's called. And Billie Eilish has way more streams. So that's one thing. People like it more. And so I went and listened to that album, and it's really fucking good. If you haven't listened to that album, I honestly can't remember the name of it. So let me look it up real quick. But I totally forgot the name of the album. I'm so stupid. I'm so bad at podcasting. But I listened to it. I went and listened to it, right? And what is the name of it? Is it Hit Me Hard? So yeah, it's called Hit Me Hard and Soft, right? And Hit Me Hard and Soft. That's the one. And I went and listened to it. And I'll tell you what, man, it's good shit. It really is. It's really good music. And I've never been really like a fan. I was like, who's this? Like, I just, I wasn't really a fan of Billie Eilish. And one of my favorite bands, the Interrupters, covered her song called Bad Guy. And so that made me go like, who's Billie Eilish? And I went and looked at it, that actual song, Bad Guy, and it's really good. I was like, okay, that's a good song. I like it. It's catchy. It's really good. And then I heard another song, and I cannot remember the name of it. I'm stupid. But I was like, this is a really good song. Did not even know it was her. And then my daughters told me that was her. I was like, oh my God, that's a good song. So, I started looking into more. So I listened to this album. And again, I just listened to a little bit here and there. And it's really good. Then I look at the fact that Beyonce, her album, Cowboy Coochie, has 71 writers. 71 people wrote this trash album. 71. It took 71 people to write a trash ass wannabe country album that wasn't country. If you wear a cowboy hat on the cover and ride a horse, it doesn't make it country. Okay? And then I look at the Billie Eilish album. 2 writers. Her and her brother. Are you fucking kidding me? That's music, motherfuckers. I'm telling you, that's what music's about. 2 fucking writers. Not all these ghost writers, all these people just writing the shit for you and then you perform it because you're Beyonce. You don't write any of your own fucking music. You have all these people. And that's the way it always is with her shit. Like, I saw with this one, call it a meme, whatever. I saw it on the fart book, probably. And it showed a picture of Freddie Mercury. One writer for Bohemian Rhapsody. One writer, Freddie Mercury. And then she had all the single ladies or whatever had like 20 something writers. And all the words were like, there was like one line that kept getting repeated when you got the masterpiece of Bohemian Rhapsody written by Freddie Mercury. So that's why Beyonce is just overrated and trash. She's horrible. She's terrible. Overrated. The only musicians I think that are more overrated, if you want to call them that, I guess they're musicians. Their music's not that bad, but U2, I can't stand U2. U2 is terrible. Now, they're catchy music. People listen to it. Mostly old ass people listen to it. They were huge in the 80s. And they tried to like give everybody a free album and nobody cared and everybody got pissed off. Like, I don't want this trash. Right. So they're very pretentious and they think they're the best band in the world. Well, they're not. They're decent. They have some good songs, but I can't stand them. They're the worst. But Beyonce is a close second. I can't stand her. She's overrated. And I used to love Jay-Z's music. I used to love Jay-Z's music. Big Pimpin'. Come on. Yeah. But now Jay-Z is trash. And there's probably more stuff going to come out about the whole, he did stuff. So we'll see what happens there. But he last year, and speaking of Jay-Z, last year, he went on a rant about how Beyonce's won all these Grammys but never won an album of the year. That should tell you something, dog. Her albums are trash. And her Grammys are paid for. And my boy Danny B said it on a little clip that I saw on Instagram. He was like, the Beatles have like 13 Grammys and Beyonce has like 35. How is that possible? How is that possible? How the fuck is that possible? Because the Beatles were getting Grammys in an era where it wasn't bought and paid for. It wasn't rigged. Beyonce's getting them in a rigged era. And, Beyonce, Jay-Z, probably part of the Illuminati. I don't know. That's here nor there. That's why shit's going down, right? Beyonce got paid like $10 million to talk for 4 minutes at a camel toe rally. So, I mean, come on. It's all a rigged system, guys. So, but anyway, I think that I looked at the other albums that were nominated for Album of the Year, and I didn't really want to listen to them because the only one I really wanted to listen to was the Billie Eilish album. And it was really fucking good. That should have won. And she cried because she got snubbed a bunch of times. And that's why Eminem said what he did about like, don't ever fucking invite me to the Grammys again. It's all fucking rigged. When people are getting snubbed, like I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it's bullshit, right? And then let's go into the next topic. Country? Best country album? Okay. First, she didn't win anything at the Country Music Awards. Nothing. Okay. She didn't win any awards at the Country Music Awards. Okay. So that shows you right there. Whereas the true country. First off, why am I talking about country? Let me explain something to you. I've always said in my life, I like all kinds of music except country. And I've always said that, right? because I never really gave it a chance. My dad listened to country. My uncle Alan listened to country all the time, and I was like, oh, this is garbage, right? I never liked it. And then I grew up and I realized that country's not bad. I start hearing all these old songs because my fiance listens to country music. That's her favorite genre is country. And I used to make fun of her for listening to country all the time. And now when we're in her car, most of the time we're listening to country. And then I start really recognizing songs that not only are older songs that my dad used to listen to, and start really listening to them and going like, this is a good song. This is actually a really damn good song. And then the newer country, and I'm not talking about Jelly Roll because I love Jelly Roll, but I'm not talking about that kind of country. I'm talking people that have been doing it for, the last, 20 years. And it's not bad. There's some that's kind of, I don't like, but it's actually not bad. Some of the more rock and roll country, like I actually kind of like it. And I gave it a chance. I gave it a second chance and I actually kind of like it. I'm actually like really into it. I don't know if I'd bump it in my car, but when, we're listening to stuff in my fiance's car, it's like, I actually dig it. Okay. So that's why I can talk a little bit about country now, right? Because I have given it a chance and I do kind of like it. So I know what good country is when I hear it. And when I hear Cowboy Coochie, I'm like, that's trash. That's not country. It's like, it almost sounds like she wanted to put a country twang in her voice and play the same old ass tired music that she was playing before and put a little country twang, and that made it, it's country. No, that wasn't a country album. And so country album of the year, and she went against people like Chris Stapleton. That motherfucker's country. Lainey Wilson. Have you ever heard Lainey Wilson? She's damn good. Her songs are country as fuck, and they're good. And she got snubbed for Beyonce? You gotta be fucking kidding me, right? You gotta be fucking kidding me. And not one award at the actual Country Music Awards. Not one award. So the Grammys mean nothing. The Grammys are rigged. 100% rigged. So I refuse. And I love music so much, but it's just so stupid, right? That someone like Beyonce is going to win Country Album of the Year. So anyway, that's my take on the Grammys. But I also wanted to talk one more thing about the Grammys. Now this could be rigged too. Who knows, right? I don't think so. But all the awards Kendrick Lamar won for that song, They Not Like Us, because that song is amazing and deserved everything. Okay, so that's a deserving award winner. And the funny shit that I didn't notice when I first saw it, and then I saw something that pointed it out. So he was wearing all denim. Okay, I don't know if you noticed that. He was wearing denim on denim. Even had like a denim hat. Denim on denim. Now, what is denim on denim called? It's called a Canadian tuxedo. Do you think that wasn't well thought out? A Canadian tuxedo. Where's Drake from? His song is a diss track on Drake. And where's Drake from? Fucking Canada. Right? So it's a Canadian tuxedo and Drake's from Canada. And genius, bro. Fucking genius. And I just can't. When I heard that, I was like, I didn't even think about that. And I knew that too. I knew that it was a Canadian tuxedo. But when I first saw him, I was like, no. He didn't just fucking do that. And then his diss track wins like 5 Grammys. It's like the first diss track to win like a Grammy, right? So shout out to Kendrick. And then when the whole crowd was singing A minor, oh, come on, man. Fucking Drake was probably shitting himself. So shout out to Kendrick for winning all those awards. Again, could be rigged, all that. But that is where you look at it to where it's a deserving win, right? And so how do you balance what's rigged and what's not? So that makes like all the bad shit, the rigged shit, makes it bad for the good shit that deserves to win, right? That actually wins. The Beatles won a Grammy too. They did a Now and Then song. I listened to it. It's pretty good. So the story behind that song is, I guess it was a song that was written by John Lennon in like 1977-ish. So it's old as fuck. Because I know something else that was made in 1977 or born in 1977. My old ass. But was written in like 1977 on like a demo, and then he didn't have it for years, and then in the 80s they started recording a little bit of it, didn't do it, and then in like they for an album they were putting out in like 95, 96, that was like a compilation album of old stuff. They recorded some stuff with Harrison, George Harrison, and Ringo and Paul. They all recorded stuff on there. Paul recorded a verse and blah blah blah, and then never did anything with it. And then so they took that. George Harrison has now passed away, and so Ringo and Paul are the only ones still alive. So they took that and made that into the song that got released. I think it was like the end of 2023, so it qualified for the Grammys, and it won. So that's awesome. And then the Rolling Stones won a Grammy for their album. I haven't listened to that yet, but I wanted to. I did listen to the Beatles song. It's really good. But the Beatles, again, only have like 13 out of all the amazing stuff they put out. So that's where you know it's rigged, where Beyonce has like over 30 fucking Grammys. And Grammys are trash. And Eminem called it a few years ago. Like when someone like Eminem gets snubbed over a whole bunch of times, it's like, it's time to go. So even though, Eminem sometimes pisses me off, but he is the GOAT. Anyway, so what else is next? What do I have next? Oh, one more thing I wanted to talk about on this last subject. This is the last subject. One thing that, sorry, I'm looking at my notes because I've been trying to get a little more organized with these things. One thing I wanted to talk about as far as, I don't know if you guys know who Oliver Anthony is. He sang that Rich Men North of Richmond song. And this is the last thing I'll talk about when it comes to the Beyonce thing. He said something that and I wanted to write it down so I could read it because I know I'm going to butcher it. But he said something about basically they wanted to, he when he got big, when his song blew up, he didn't want that to happen. He wasn't trying to do that. But they offered him all this money. He had a management team that was trying to, help him out. And they wanted him to promote Beyonce's album and say that it was good so that there could be a collaboration one day. So if he promoted it, then maybe Beyonce would want to work with him on an album and he could do a song with her and it would blow up, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to promote an album that's trash. He went and listened to it and was like, I'm not promoting this album. It's trash. And he had a rant. He had this video that he put out that was just a rant of just like talking about the music industry and how fake it is and how rigged it is. But he said something, and this is why Beyonce gets where she gets, right? This is why she gets album sales and she looks better on the charts and wins Grammys. He said this. He said, they boost streams to try to make you care about music you shouldn't. And I thought that was so well worded. They boost the streams so that people like hear this over and over and over again. And even if they don't like it, they're going to sit there and go, well, this is trending. So, it must be good. And that's what always happens with Beyonce's songs. They're usually nothing special about them. I mean, she's a talented singer, but there's usually nothing extra special about them that makes them that great. But yet she'll win a Grammy for it over people that are actually real musicians like Billie Eilish and her brother, whatever his name is. Phineas. Yes. So he's a genius. That guy writes some amazing songs, and the songs they write together, it's just the two of them. And that's amazing. I love that. That's real music. That's where you got usually a band will have 4 songwriters or just one songwriter and the band plays it, right? Like that's it. But when you have 70 fucking songwriters for your album, that's trash. That's trash, bro. I'm done with that. I'm done with any music like that. So anyway, that's the last thing I'll say about it. I thought that was really interesting because that's the way everything works. It's like you see that it has this 1 million streams, but how many of those were paid for? They pay people to stream certain things so that it boosts it in the record sales, right? And no matter what you feel about Tom McDonald, he said this like a couple of years ago, how he was in competition with like Eminem at one point, or he was in competition with like Taylor Swift as far as #1 album, like these big, huge stars. And I think it was like Nicki Minaj. And there's a few other big, when he puts out like a song or an album, and songs he did with album he did with Adam Calhoun was up there in the top, and they were fighting against like the big dogs, right? These major label artists, and they were up there right there. And then all of a sudden it just boosted up because they didn't have the money to spend to have people stream their shit. And these people do. So they pay all these people to stream their shit. So it boosts it up to number one and overtakes them. These independent artists. And it's just an example of like independent artists where you can't win against the music industry. Even if you have people, millions and millions of people that are streaming your shit, you still can't win. So it's all rigged. It's all rigged. Everything, the Billboard charts, it's all rigged. Okay. 100%. Okay. What is next? So the next thing I want to talk about that's rigged is the Super Bowl. That's coming up. I think it's this weekend, this Sunday. I don't know. I never watch it. I watch it if like someone invites me over to watch it, but I love the commercials. I know it's cheesy to say, but sports in general, I feel are rigged. And I know my team just won the World Series, so it's kind of hard to say that. But in a sense, sometimes I feel like baseball's rigged. I see certain things that I don't like. I don't like how certain things, and you can say, I know people are going to, first thing you're going to say is, oh yeah, the Dodgers are definitely rigged because they're buying all their players, right? Whatever you want to say, I don't care. But I feel like, okay, again, we have Taylor Swift's team, the Chiefs, in the Super Bowl again, because basically they're going to set something up. I think they're going to, did you guys see that? That was a ghost. Did you guys see that? If you're watching, there was just a ghost that flew by. It was, anyway, I feel like it's all rigged because Taylor Swift boosts sales. Like they had the most viewership ever last year when Taylor Swift was there, right? So they got to do it again. You know, maybe that first year they won. Okay, maybe that was okay. But then last year, or the first year they were in, I don't remember if they won, but I don't know. I know they won last year. You know, the Taylor Swift Chiefs, not even the Kansas City Chiefs, it's the Taylor Swift Chiefs. I know that last year they won, and it was the most viewership for the Super Bowl ever. And they kept showing Taylor Swift, and I did an episode about that. It's like, who the fuck cares about Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl? Like, that's the only reason they're doing it. It's all rigged. So I just feel like even if like the Chiefs don't win, they have to be there so that Taylor Swift's there at the Super Bowl, right? And the other cool thing about it is Kendrick's going to be there. So what's he going to do? Anyway, Kendrick's performing a halftime show, which is going to be, I just want to see that. I think that's going to be amazing. Can you tell I like Kendrick? I really do like Kendrick. And as you guys know, hip hop and rap and in the 80s was like my first love. And I loved that shit before I even got into like heavy music. That was my first love. And hearing Kendrick is like, he's a real artist. Like his music is his lyrics mean something. Every little thing he says means something, right? And it's just so well thought out. I love it. It's not this like mumble bullshit where, you know, yeah, the beats sound cool and it's catchy, but it's not art. It's bullshit. He's an artist, right? And he's so good. So I love Kendrick. My son introduced me to him like probably like 8 or 9 years ago. And he started playing me some Kendrick. I was like, holy shit. I was like, this shit's good. And I've been a fan ever since. So he's going to be playing it at the Super Bowl. So that's exciting. And I think after him winning the Grammys, that's where you look at it like, okay, well, is that rigged? So he wins all these Grammys and he does all this stuff. And then he's going to be at the Super Bowl. So they paid so he could be there and they could boost all this, all the viewership, and they charge more for the commercials, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm saying. It's like the whole world is rigged. And I feel like the Super Bowl is rigged. Sports are rigged. Basketball especially is rigged. It's all rigged. I don't know much about, I know about football, but I don't really watch. I don't really know a lot of players. I don't know all this stuff, right? So I can't really talk much about it. From what I've seen, it's totally rigged. They wanted them to at least be in the Super Bowl so you could see Taylor Swift. So all the Swifties will watch, right? So fuck the Super Bowl. I don't care. Probably not going to watch. Don't really care. I don't party anymore, so it's like not going to go to a Super Bowl party. I believe that Alicia has to work that day, so it's like I'm just going to sit here and watch Netflix. So the last thing I want to talk about that is rigged, and this might be a touchy subject, so I'll try not to get too far into it, but politics in general. And I said in my last episode I wasn't going to be getting like super political anymore, especially like I'm just not going to post about it. But I will talk a little bit about it. Politics in general, all these things you see going on, it's all by design. Okay, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Everything's rigged. Everything's by design. Everything's set up by people behind the scenes that you don't know about or you're not supposed to know about. So here's an example. Okay, so what do we got going on right now? We got protests, right, going on. So we got protests going on about the deportation thing. I'll get into that a little bit. And then we got protests going on about everything else. Like they had in 50 protests, like 50 states in one day having protests, right? So everybody met at the capital of every state. I don't know how it worked out. I've only seen like 3 or 4, but and that was protests. They're having protests about Trump, all the stuff that they think he's putting forward. They're talking about, they have the Democrats all ranting about Doge and Elon Musk, saying he's not elected. Well, neither was Anthony Fauci now, neither was Bill Gates. All these people that were talking during the COVID times that we had to listen to, but they weren't elected either, but they were telling us that we couldn't go outside. They were telling businesses that they had to shut down. They were telling everybody they had to, pokey poke. And who the fuck are they to tell us, right? They weren't elected either, but we had to listen because you told us to, right? So who the fuck are they? And they're protesting because here's the reason here's the reason they're pissed off about Doge, about Elon Musk. They're pissed off because he's finding all the corruption. He's finding all the money that's getting spent on shit, or it says $20 million is going here, but where's it actually going? Right back into their pockets. And they're scared that they're going to get found out, that all this money that is supposed to be going here never went actually to that spot. It just on paper, that's where it was supposed to go. And that it actually went into their pockets. How do you make $180,000 a year, but you're worth $10 million? Explain that to me. That's what I'm talking about. How does that happen? So that's what he's finding out. There's all this corruption and he's digging deeper and deeper and deeper. So they're fucking protesting the shit out of that. Okay? Because everything is fake. All the taxpayer money that we put in, where it actually goes is fake. You don't know where it actually goes. Okay? They don't even need, like people, I saw people when they were talking about, so they're talking about getting rid of income tax, which would help out so many Americans. I mean, I see how much comes out of my check on the federal income tax. It's just fucking ridiculous. And I end up still having to pay at the end of the year. It's fucking ridiculous. So they get rid of that. People think that, oh, well, then how's the government going to make money? There's so many different ways. And we can talk about tariffs. I am just starting to learn about how tariffs work, but I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to sound dumb yet once I know more. But all I know is that tariffs will help, because you got to look at the percentage of stuff that's going to be tariffed. Everybody's like, oh, all the prices are going to go up. On some things at first, yes, but prices on other things will go down. And it could also create more jobs, because these companies aren't going to want to, like, even though they outsource because it costs them less to outsource, right? So if it's not going to cost them less to outsource because they have to pay a tariff on that stuff that comes in, then they're not going to want to do that. So they're going to end up losing money in the long run by having to pay these tariffs. So they're going to stop doing that and be like, okay, well then it'll still be cheaper to do it here. And that's what will happen. Now, they tried this once before and it didn't work. And what I've heard about it, what I've researched about it is, and this is a scene in Ferris Bueller. If you go back to Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where Ben Stein is talking about anybody, Pauly Schnook, anybody. That's what he's talking about, is the time that it didn't work. And I researched that, and I've heard that they went about it the wrong way. So we'll see if that works. I don't know a lot about it, but that's my concept on it, is that if they can do that, yes, some things will go up, but there's only a certain percentage of stuff that is imported that will go up. So anyway, I sound kind of dumb because I don't know how to word what I'm trying to say, but all those things, like if we can fix that, they have enough money going places, and they're spending all this money, all these places that they don't need to be spending all this money. Billions of dollars literally are going places that they don't need it to go. So if they don't have to spend all that money, and they can downsize things, and they can spend money where it's, what does Doge stand for, right? Department of Government Efficiency, right? They want to make it more efficient. They want to slim down everything. So, and they're protesting that because they're trying to make you think that it's a bad thing. It's all rigged. They're protesting when it comes, but basically they're protesting all these things. And the reason, because I don't want to keep you guys much longer, the reason they're doing all these things is because they need to divide us. And it has to have, we have to be divided. We have to be fighting amongst each other. Because if we're fighting amongst each other, then we don't see what they're really doing. Okay. And this includes Trump. This includes the Republicans, because there's things they try to sneak in too. Okay. The government as a whole is corrupt, and they don't want us seeing what they're actually doing. So they create all this stuff with like racism, and they create all these different things to divide us so that we don't see what's actually going on. What's actually going on? I don't know. Everything's so divided, I can't see it. So that's why they do this. That's why they want to make us think, like with the deportation thing, they want us to all fight about it, right? And they knew that was going to happen. They knew there was going to be protests and stuff like that. Every country in the world deports people that come across the border illegally. Every single country. And most countries they put people in prison, and they fine them, put them in prison, and then they deport them, right? It's not just us. Obama, I think it was like 5 million people got deported. The Clintons, like it was like 10 million. Every president deports people. This is just because everybody has been told to hate Trump and that Trump's a racist and all this stuff. Everybody's been told this by the media, by the rigged media. They just found out Politico was being paid for by the government, from the government, and now they cut off the money to Politico, and now they couldn't make payroll. Politico is a big, mostly left-wing agency that actually posts things about politics, right? And now they can't make payroll because they were getting paid for by the government. Why? To trick you, because it's rigged. They want to make you hate Republicans. They want to make you hate, period. So anyway, that's my take on things. I hope you guys understand that I have love for everybody. I understand. I think I see through a lot of things that people don't see through. I see the fact that everything that you watch on TV, on the news and on social media and all that, it's all fake. It's all not real. And I see through that. I critical think, I guess. Anyway, I'm not going to keep you guys much longer. That's my take on why everything in this world is fake. It's all not real, guys. Just stop looking at things you see on the news, things you see on social media, and just believing them blatantly. Like, look into it first. That's why I say, like, Joe Rogan just said it, but that's why I say it. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat, even though I do feel like I lean a little more right, if you want to look at it that way. But I don't look at it like left and right. It's like the two wings of the same corrupt bird. So I don't look at it that way. I just look at things critically, and I think about it more than just saying, oh, that must be true because it said it here. I try to think more. So I encourage you guys to do the same thing. I guarantee you'll look at life a lot better. You'll notice that there's people behind the scenes that are trying to manipulate your life. And like that old quote, bread and circuses, right? They want to keep you looking at this and looking at this so that you don't revolt. Okay? You don't understand that they're the fucking problem. People in charge are the problem. And I'm talking about the current administration, the last administration, I'm talking about all of them. They're all fucked up, and they all do it for their own reasons. That's it for me, guys, though. I'm going to get off that. I don't like doing this on my podcast, but sometimes it's got to be done. But I love you guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for listening. Everything's been doing really well on this podcast. It makes me want to keep doing it. So thank you guys so much. Again, I love you. You guys got this. Peace.